A couple of months ago, when I revamped my channel and I changed my channel name, I asked a poll asking you guys what kind of videos did you want to see from me moving forward, in addition to the hair videos that I already do. And a few of you said that you'd like to see some women's health content. So this is going to be my first video catered to women's health. I'm not a medical professional. I don't have any type of degree in medical terminology or anything like that. So sometimes the things that I say might not make a lot of sense, but I'm explaining it the best way that I can. So bear with me, and I hope you find this video informative and helpful. So what led up to me having to have a hysterectomy in my 20s? The short answer is scar tissue from C-sections. Okay, that's the short answer. But I'm going to get into like how it led up to an actual hysterectomy and everything that I went through. Back to when I was younger, when I first went into womanhood and first got my period, I always had heavy periods, clotting, a lot of bleeding, a lot of pain, and also been dealing with the bleeding and the problems and ovarian cysts and things like that ever since I was a young girl and I first got my first cycle. After I had my first child, when I had my second one, and they did the C-section for him, they told me you had a lot of scarring in there, so we got out as much as we could and stuff like that. I felt fabulous after I had my last child. Well, he wasn't my last. I did have a miscarriage after him, but another video, another day. So fast forward to 3 years after having my last C-section, I started to have pain in my right side, the lower right side of my abdomen. And the only way I can describe this pain is it felt kind of like if you've been doing a lot of crunches and you get sore in your abdomen area. That's what it felt like for me. It felt like I had been doing crunches, but only that side was sore, and it would hurt if I slept on it. It hurt if I touch it. It hurt if I cough. Like if I pressed on that side of my stomach, it would hurt. And I say stomach, but it wasn't my stomach. It was more so my abdomen, like right at the bottom to the right of my navel. The abdomen at the very bottom, that muscle, it would just hurt. Hurt. And then I would start bleeding, have my cycle, heavy, clotty, achy cycle. And my cycle would last for like 7 to 9 days. Then the pain would taper off. Then it start back again the next month. And then it got to the point to where it would not stop. It would hurt. Even when my period was off, the pain would hurt almost all month. And then, start over again. It would hurt if I exerted myself in any type of way to stimulate my core muscles. It would hurt on the muscle. And I was like, what is going on? So I went to multiple doctors. This started in 2013. I went to multiple doctors. They told me different things. Some of them told me that I had pulled a muscle, a fibroid. Another doctor told me that my uterus was collapsing due to hormone imbalance. So the first time I got any relief from the pain was in 2014 when my doctor put me on a birth control pill. He instructed me, take the pill all the way through. Don't take the sugar pills. The sugar pills make your period come on. So I was taking a birth control pill every single day and avoiding my period. I avoided my period for almost a whole year. Didn't have any issues with the pain. So that let them know there's something related to the period and this pain. So when I got off the birth control pill for them to see what was really going on, period came back with vengeance, pain came back with vengeance. So I had been doing my research and I had came across words like endometriosis, cervical cancer, different things like that I was researching. When you Google, you think you have all these conditions because, it's just a scramble of information. So my doctor did feel like maybe I had endometriosis because of the way that I was, my symptoms and things, and how they would come during my period and kind of taper off and things like that, and the pain, because people with endometriosis have severe pain and sometimes it's unexplainable pain. So in 2015 I underwent a laparoscopic surgery to go in, and they looked for endometriosis. I was so hopeful. I was like, I didn't want to have endometriosis, but I wanted an answer. I wanted a name to go with what I was experiencing, because it just didn't make sense to me to be hurting so bad and not have a clue as to what was going on. After the surgery in 2015, he said, oh, you don't have any endometriosis. We couldn't find any, but you had a ton of scarring. And I was like, well, that's weird, because after I had my second child, they told me I had scarring from the first and they got rid of it. He was like, yeah, well, you know, each surgery, each C-section is gonna bring its own scar tissue. So I started doing my research on scar tissue, and I did find out that scar tissue is very, very common, especially among women of color, melanated women, African American women. We are more prone to get that type of scarring. Not to say that other races don't, they do. And one way that you can indicate whether you as a woman, no matter what color you are, if you might have a problem with scar tissue, if you have scars on your body anywhere else and they like puff up in keloid like this. I have this scar and you can see how it bubbles up. It's like a keloid scar. 9 times out of 10, if you have a major surgery or a C-section or something, you are going to experience scar tissue at a higher rate than other people. So I was doing my research on scar tissue and I'm like, okay, if it's scar tissue, what can I do for myself? And after this surgery, he was like, we removed the scar tissue as much as we could. We didn't see any endometriosis. Hopefully you feel better. A month later, back to square one. I'm hurting. I just had the surgery, but I'm hurting again. And I went back to him and he was like, well, you're probably just going to hurt forever for the rest of your life. There's nothing I can do. And I did not like that answer, because I feel like there's always something you can do. Even if it's me having to do it for myself. I was like, I'm not going to, you know, take that sit down. So from 2015 to 2019, I suffered still. Hurting and stuff like that. This type of pain was such a nuisance to me. It caused me depression. It interfered with my everyday life. Like, I'm an active person. I like to dance. I like to work out and stuff like that. And so many times I just couldn't, because I could barely get out of bed. I would hurt really bad. I ended up getting a new doctor in 2018, and she referred me to another doctor in 2019 who I absolutely love. And this doctor was associated with Loma Linda University Hospital. They have one of the best OBGYN departments in the nation. We were going over my labs, my tests, everything. My symptoms had got so bad that I would have, like, with my period, I would have diarrhea. I'm just being real. I mean, like I said in the beginning of this video, you're going to hear some stuff. I have diarrhea. I would have bloating. I would get nauseated. I would get sick. It was just intense. So she was like, well, this is what we can do. All your labs and all your tests and things are pointing towards scar tissue being your issue, since they didn't find any endometriosis. And she told me there could be endometriosis, but they just didn't see it. So she was like, I can put you on a intrauterine device, an IUD, birth control, which will go in there and it will keep you from having so many periods, and you feel better because the pain is associated with your period and it's scar tissue and your uterus and all this stuff. And I was like, okay, look, can we just take it out? And she looked at me like, take it out? And I was like, yeah, my husband and I, we don't want any more children. We're good. Maybe this is my answer. Maybe I need to get a hysterectomy and just get the uterus out of there. If the uterus is what's causing all this pain because of scar tissue and whatnot, get it out of there. So she agreed with me, and she was like, okay, you know, I feel like this probably will solve your problem. I didn't want to mention it because you're so young, and I didn't want to do that. She was like, but if you feel like, you know, you want to, I agree, and this is why XYZ, you know, she went through the whole thing with me, and we both were on the same page. And so she got me scheduled. She told me that she was going to remove my cervix, my uterus, and my fallopian tubes. She was removing the uterus, of course, because that's the main area where all the pain is associated with. And then the cervix, you know, there's no reason to have a cervix, she said, if you don't have a uterus anymore. So she's going to take that out so that it could, you know, no cervical cancer possibility there with no cervix. And she also said that ovarian cancer originates in the tubes, so she was going to take my tubes too. So cervix, uterus, and tubes all were going to get taken out, and they did. She didn't want to take my ovaries. I've had ovarian cysts in the past and just problems with ovulation and hurting and pain and stuff, and I wanted her to take those ovaries. I didn't want those ovaries, but she was like, no, if they're healthy, I'm gonna make you, you know, keep them because you're young. So they went in, they did the procedure. My recovery was okay as long as I followed, you know, the rules and didn't move around too much and stuff like that. So fast forward to now, over a year later, am I better? And the answer is, I'm okay. I won't say that I'm completely healed, but I'm better than I was. Now, I've gotten a hysterectomy, and am I still having pain? Yeah, sometimes I do. I don't have a period, but I will have pain if I say do things like overexert myself or I let myself get dehydrated. One thing I've noticed since I had the hysterectomy is the issue that I have, the pain, it doesn't hurt as long as I stay super hydrated. And I mean, I have to drink a lot of water, because if I don't, I start to get achy and hurt, which is a good thing, you know, not that I hurt, but that this is kind of forcing me to make sure that I drink more water. Also, I skipped the most important part. The surgery itself yielded the fact that I had scar tissue like crazy. The scar tissue, the picture that she showed me, I have it in black and white, and I don't know what I did with the color one. If I can find the colored picture to show you guys, I will put it up here. But if I can't, then I'm just going to try to describe it to you right now. So in the picture, you can see my uterus, and then you can see what look like webs, like spider webs almost. And she told me that's the scarring. So where I was cut on my stomach, well, not my stomach, my abdomen, like I was cut below my navel, above my pubic bone area, and it was cut horizontally for both C-sections. Where I was cut right there, there was so much scarring that it was attached to the uterus. There was scar tissue attached to so many organs in my body that was causing me all that pain. The scarring, the pulling, it was just like so bad. And she actually said that if it had gone on any longer, it could have started to affect my organs internally. So it was a mess in there. It was a mess. So she told me that the scarring was the culprit of so many of my problems, because they had to remove so much just to, you know, get the uterus and everything taken out. But I do feel like if I could do it all over, I'd make the same decision, because I do have a higher quality of life now. I hate that I had to do that. Most of the time, we want to go through our life with all our body parts. We don't want to have to take any of them out, because that's who we are. But at the end of the day, I feel like it was just worth it, because I am a whole lot better. I'm like at least 85% better now. So I know that, of course, not everyone's situation is going to be to where, you know, it's a scar tissue problem and it's bling. That's my answer. That's my answer to all my pain. But I do want to say this. If you have C-sections, or you're going to have a baby and you might have to have a C-section, educate yourself, especially if you're a woman of color. All women, not just women of color, but especially if you're a woman of color, because we are so prone to that scarring, and they don't tell you about that. When I had my first baby, I didn't hear about scar tissue until I had my second one. And of course I could have talked to people, but I really wasn't in the mind frame of thinking about, oh, am I going to get scarred inside, and is it going to like overtake my life? I never thought about that. But there's so many different things you can do after you have your baby from C-section. If you have to have a C-section, pelvic floor therapy, abdominal massage. So just look it up. I found facilities. I live in Georgia now. So I found facilities in Atlanta and different places that specialize in treating your pelvic floor to help you not get so much scar tissue, and even break up the scar tissue. Heal it, like, so that it doesn't get so bad. But these type of things you have to jump on right after your outer wound heals. You have to jump on it. And here I was 4 or 5 years later having so many problems, but my scar tissue was already solid and locked in there. But I feel like if I had more knowledge and educated myself on the subject of scar tissue and knowing what it was and the possibilities, you know, were there for me to have to deal with it, I would have looked into more therapy and more stuff to get myself back on track. Because after I had my second child, I worked out, I lost weight, I was like so healthy, feeling good. And then 2 years later, I'm in this turmoil of my health because of the scar tissue from, you know, the C-section. We should be given more information, but I'm telling you, they're not going to give it to you. So you're going to have to go look for it yourself and just educate yourself. And I'm not making this video to scare anybody, because the thing about it is there are ways to prevent it from happening, from getting so bad. Like I said, do your research and find out, because if I had known before I had my babies, I would have been so much better. I know, I feel it in my heart that I would have been better, but can't change the past. We can only look forward and do better for the future. So I hope this video helps someone, and if you've had similar experiences, leave your comments down below to help inspire someone else or help point someone else in the right direction if they come across this video looking for answers. So yeah, I had my hysterectomy. I wouldn't change a thing. I'm feeling a whole lot better, and like I said, one day at a time. Just trying to figure it out for myself. So yeah, so thank you guys for watching. And I was gonna say really quick, I didn't mention this, but when I had my locks and my 1-year lock video, I was healing from the surgery. That's why my 1 year, if you go back and look, my 1-year lock journey video is just pictures, because I couldn't really just come on and talk to you guys. So that was around the time, you know, when I had the surgery and stuff. And if you were helped by this video, or you think you know somebody who might be able to be inspired or helped, or find it useful, make sure that you share it with them. Like, comment, subscribe, and thank you guys so much for watching. If you want to see more videos like this, let me know. Give me a thumbs up. If you want to see a video about like my C-sections and things like that, let me know, because I don't mind sharing that with you, but I want to do it at you guys' request. So thank you so much for watching, and I hope you have a great day. Bye.